Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast of your favorite team in the Bay Area. Sharks lose their 10th in a row, but that's not what matters here. No. Thomas Bordeleau is playing on the Sharks, and that's all that matters now. I don't care about wins and losses now. That doesn't matter, okay? The future is here with Thomas Bordeleau playing on the Sharks. So we're going to talk about Bordelo's debut. We're going to talk about the big takeaways from the weekend, and then we're going to look to see how high or low the Sharks can climb on the takeathon standings. All that and more on today's Locked On Sharks. Music.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm your host, JD Young. Kyle continues to be abducted by Australians, but that's okay. I'm all that is needed right now. So today's episode, of course, brought to you by BetOnline. You guys know BetOnline has got you covered for all your sports and gambling needs. Go check them out at BetOnline, where the game starts. But Thomas Bordeleau, I covered a little bit on Saturday's live stream. If you guys didn't get a chance, you can go check that out. But if you're just listening on the podcast, so Bordelo, of course, he signs his amateur tryout. He plays 2 games with the Barracuda. His first game, he scores 3. He has 3 assists. Second game, he looks great. Doesn't get any points, but he still looks good. Driving offense. The Sharks, combination of just being crushed by injuries and also you're too good to play with the Barracuda. Sign Bordeleau, let him play, burn down that first year of his ELC and let him play. So I get some people are kind of like, well, why would you waste a year of his ELC? It's okay. That's not the biggest thing in the world. That's just kind of the cost of doing business with some of these high-end NCAA prospects. You see guys like, Matty Beniers, like all the Michigan guys who come out, they everybody except for I think Brisson basically signed, is signed with an NHL deal right now. And you go back, Cole Caulfield last year signed, Burns that first year of his. It doesn't matter. So it's good for them because they get that first real contract sooner. And actually, you know what? It might be sneaky better for the Sharks actually too. So Bordeleau, instead of having 3 years of work, and by the time he hits his 3rd year, you expect him to be starting to hit his peak, really kind of, as a legitimate 2C in the NHL potentially, you got to pay him like one of those. Now, yeah, he has 2 years plus 8 or 9 games of so a little bit smaller sample size. So if he's still kind of developing during that time, guess what? His next contract, not going to cost as much. So potentially. So it could be one of those things where, yeah, you burn a year now, you're also saving some money down the road. And plus then too, you don't have Eklund and Bordeleau vying for contracts at the exact same time. So anyway, that's future JD. We'll worry about that when we get to that situation. But let's talk about Bordeleau's debut. I thought he looked really good. Looked really solid. Bob Bugner was really kind of happy with the way he came out and played. He had an assist on the Balcers goal where he won a puck battle behind the net, kind of rimmed it around, and then Balcers kind of did the rest there. But he did good work on the Gregor goal, and he's, you can see in the offensive zone where he can contribute there. And as he gets more, again, he hasn't really had a practice with these guys. As he gets more comfortable around the guys, hopefully he kind of, if you want to let him play with Gregor and Balcers, then let him play with Gregor and Balcers for the rest of the year type of thing. Just let him get comfortable with these guys and let him get in, kind of situated in the NHL. And So I thought he looked good there. He's going to have to learn, again, every kid goes through this with the NHL where you don't have the same time and space that you once did in college. And he's going to learn that stuff. He's the smart guy. And, when it comes to that, like he's going to learn same we see it with Ryan Merkley too, where going to learn what he can get away with and what he needs to kind of maybe like live to fight another day. So, but Bordelo, he played, what did he play? 13 minutes total. So, 13-14, 12-30 at even strength and 44 seconds of power play, which I like him getting out there on the power play, helped to kind of, let him get more comfortable and stuff like that. He said he was really nervous after the first period. I couldn't really tell, but, and Bob said too after the game, like Gregor and Balcers had their best games. I mean, we saw Noah Gregor scored a goal. We saw them both contribute offensively, and they both had kind of a nice little jump on their step. And I think that's just having Bordelo, a guy out there who can help create offense. And Nick Bonino. I know Nick Bonino scored again today, but like he's just not driving offense the same way Bordelo can. And I know Nick Bonino is going to be way more responsible defensively and stuff like that. But like this team doesn't need defense right now. They need offense. They've been struggling to score goals. And, it's easier to teach someone how to be in the right place in the right time to play defense than it is to teach someone how to generate offense. So I thought he looked good. I'm excited to see what he does. The Sharks, they have a little bit easier competition. We'll get into that this week, other than they play the Blues here on Thursday. But I mean, their schedule does lighten up here a little bit. So Dakota makes an appearance in the podcast. Sorry about that, Dakota. But he, I really like the way he played. He's gonna, he had a really nice chance on the 2-on-1 and just couldn't beat Fleury, but like he's gonna generate offense. You can just tell the guys around him are gonna have kind of a jump in his step. And again, I don't care about him burning his ELC down right now. The only thing that matters, we'll get to it here in a minute, but the only thing that matters with the Sharks right now is just how these young guys are playing. And if Bordelo is playing well, that's bigger than the wins and losses right now. So before we get into the kind of the takeaways and what what's kind of going on from this weekend, let's take a quick break and talk to you guys about our friends over at Athletic Greens. Athletic Greens, a product I use literally every day. I started taking AG1 because, I'm getting a little bit older. My birthday's coming up. Wanted, better gut health, more energy. That's always an issue for me. I'm always tired. Optimized immune system. And I don't want to take like 1,000 supplements and pills. So what is it? It's one delicious scoop of AG1. You just put it in a cup of water, you shake it up. With that, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole foods, source superfoods, and probiotics to help you start your day right. The special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, aging, all that things. So go check them out if you're kind of, like, who are these people? The Athletic Greens guy created this, the founder, because he's experienced a ton of gut health issues himself, ended up with a complicated supplement routine to recover. It cost him $100 a day. That's a lot of money. So he created Athletic Greens after experiencing how difficult it was to create an optimal nutritional routine on your own. And it costs you less than $3 a day. With it, you're investing in your health. It's cheaper than a cold brew habit. If you're like me, I'm a Dutch guy. I'm at Dutch way too often. It's cheaper than getting all the different supplements yourself, and you're investing in all-in-one nutritional insurance. So go check them out right now. Make it easy. They're also giving you a free year one supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 travel packs with your first purchase. So just visit athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/NHL Network to take ownership of your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. All right, so the big takeaways from this weekend. The Sharks playing 8, 9, 10, doesn't matter how many rookies. They're playing a lot of rookies, but they're playing these teams really well. So the Dallas Stars, who are fighting for their lives for a playoff spot, the Minnesota Wild, who are a very good team. They're a dark horse cup contender. probably rank them right now like tier 1. You got your Colorados, your Panthers, teams like that. And I would put the Wild in like a tier 2, where I wouldn't be shocked if they came out of the Western Conference. They're very deep team. They're very skilled. They may not have the same high-end talent as your Colorados and your Floridas, but they're a very, very good team. And the Sharks played with them, and it wasn't like they were just holding on for dear life. The Sharks played with them for the entire 60 minutes of this game. The same thing with the Stars, where they played with them, and if it, just a couple bad bounces, and they just don't have the same depth as these guys, but they played with these guys for a full 60 minutes. And again, right now, the wins and losses don't matter. In fact, the losses are more important than the wins, as we'll get into our third segment. But the wins and losses don't matter right now. Right now, you're trying to build processes. You're trying to see how these young guys do when given more responsibility, and kind of what this kind of adversity and going through a 10-game losing streak, how do the guys react? And like, are they going to kind of keep playing their game and kind of keep working at it, especially if you're giving these younger guys more opportunities, or are they going to kind of go into a shell? And I've really liked the way I've seen some of these guys play, especially Jonathan Dahlén, who's been given, with Barabanov being hurt, Dahlén's been given a role with Hurdle and Meyer, and I think he's played really, really well the last 2 games. And not having to play on the fourth line, and let him play a more offensive role that he's more suited to. And he goes to the dirty areas, and he saved a goal in the Wild game where he literally Reimer made the first stop, but Dahlén was in the crease and literally saved a goal. And you could see him going to the dirty areas, and he's going to get a goal soon. He's been working hard, and I like to see the way he's been kind of responded these past 2 games, especially when given the chance to play with Hurdle and Meyer and Dakota, and given a chance to play with these guys, and really been able to. I think he's responded well. He hasn't gotten on the score sheet, but I think he's responded well, and I think he's playing well. And that's good for Dahlén to try to build up some more positivity, I think, especially after what's been a really tough season. I've talked about him a bunch before, where he looked really great beginning of the season, but then ever since that shoulder injury, he just wasn't the same guy. So, but yeah, I really want to see him continue to build on these last 2 games, and can kind of, show why he could be a potential 2025 goal scorer for the Sharks. Noah Gregor, I mean, we saw Rudy and Gregor playing with Barabanov, and Gregor, we've seen him tap into that speed, and, we know Noah Gregor go burr, but again, kind of a dirty goal today where he was in the right spot at the right time. And, it'd be nice for him to, if he stops shooting at a 3% clip and gets closer to the 8 or 9% clip, I think that's the NHL average, we could really see him kind of be a more useful piece. So hopefully him playing with Bordelo will kind of help to kind of ignite and maybe unlock some of Gregor's offense, or maybe just some good puck luck for him for once. So Ryan Merkley, who, he's kind of still doing Ryan Merkley things, where he's been up or down, especially, in the Dallas game, where he had some opportunities. Again, I think sometimes he tries to do too much, or he tries to make that play before he's ready to make the play. I'm thinking, at the end of the game, he's on there twice. He's not able to hold the puck in when they're trying to push for a goal. He did a great job of getting back and keeping Jamie Benn from getting an empty netter. But it's one of those things where I think he's thinking about the next play before he's still working on the play that he's doing. So, again, we're going to see the flashes from Merkley. But again, this time of year, it's just about letting him kind of experiment and develop and figure out what he can do and not do. So, yeah. And same thing with like Weatherby and Reedy. I'm going to kind of lump these 2 guys together, where, they're fighting for these bottom 6, they're both going to be fighting for this 4C position. I guess Chmelevski as well, between Chmelevski, Bordelo, Reedy, and Weatherby, those guys are fighting for that 3C and 4C going into next year. And Reedy, I think he's been doing some positive stuff. Again, he doesn't get as much opportunity because he's only, I think he's played like, what did he play? 8 or 9 minutes tonight, 9:40 tonight. Weatherby played 7. So, I feel like Reedy's kind of more established himself on the Sharks. But again, opportunity for these guys to kind of really show why they should be part of the Sharks going forward and what they can do going into next year. So, again, right now the wins and losses don't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. Who cares? The Sharks are they're on a historic type of a run for them with losses. They've lost 10 in a row. They haven't lost this many games since pre-Joe Thornton. The last time they lost this many games, they traded for Joe Thornton. So it's fine right now. And actually, if it's not the worst thing in the world for them to lose games, as long as they're playing hard. There's a difference between what they were losing games like that they are now than what they did last year. Last year, where it was just clearly just trying to get to the end of the season. They were just getting shellacked. But this team's still playing hard. They just don't have the depth and the skill that other teams do. But this is good experience for these young guys to get going and kind of learn on the job. And this is the type of thing we're going into next year. These guys are going to they're going to feel so much better about themselves as they go into next year. So but yeah, we'll take a quick break, and then we will talk about where these Sharks could actually end up at the old Tankathon rankings. But first, got to talk about BetOnline. BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting, sports, and stats info. Find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, news, including this year's basketball playoffs and Major League Baseball, which is getting underway now. BetOnline is your continued source for your sports wager information, from live betting to playoffs, esports, and more. Head to their website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. BetOnline, where the game starts. And maybe you're hungry after all this betting. That's where you need to grab yourself a little snack with Built Bar. You guys know about Built Bar now. They're the best tasting protein bar on the market. Each bar is covered in 100% chocolate, but you don't have to worry about all the garbage that goes in with it. So 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, 17 grams of protein. While candy bars taste like 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. And they come in amazing flavors like mint brownie, coconut almond, and white chocolate cookies and cream. And if that doesn't sound great, go try out their puffs, the first ever protein-infused marshmallow. They're fluffy, they're marshmallow, not just a protein bar, they're a treat. And they're also covered in 100% real chocolate with awesome flavors like meat, cinnamon churro, coconut marshmallow, banana cream pie. And you guys know we are a pro cream pie podcast. So go to built.com, use the promo code LOCK15, get 15% off your order. Again, use promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at built.com. All right. The old Tankathon. So the Sharks right now are sitting at 10th. I'm going to pull this up if you're watching on YouTube. So the Sharks are sitting at 10th right now on the old Tankathon. They're right behind. So Ottawa, 63 points. Buffalo, 69 points. Detroit, 68 points. Actually, sorry, the Sharks are 10th. And the Sharks are at 70 points right now after their loser point they got against Minnesota. So, kind of did some math here. So we can look at let's start with the Sharks schedule here. So they have Columbus, Blues, Chicago, Vegas, Anaheim, Edmonton, and Seattle to end their season. So you just kind of go through it. We'll do some quick wins and losses. I already kind of wrote this out, but Columbus, I think they win just because I think the Sharks are playing really well. And I think Columbus lost to the Ducks tonight. The Blues, they're going to lose to the Blues. The Blues are really good right now. They're fighting for the playoffs, et cetera, et cetera. I think they just scored like 8 goals against the Preds. Blues are machine. Chicago, I think they win that game on Saturday night against the Blackhawks. They got a point from them last time they played. Sharks are at home. I think the Sharks are playing better right now. So next game, Vegas, second game of back-to-back at Vegas. They lose that. Vegas needs the points. Anaheim on Tuesday, the 26th. Last home game of the year. I think they win that. It's pretty close. I mean, the Sharks have kind of beaten Anaheim. They kind of had Anaheim's been close with Anaheim this year. So at Edmonton, I think it's a loss. Edmonton needs the points, and at Seattle, I think it's a loss. Seattle, that's just end of the season, whatever. So we'll give them 6 points. That'll put them at 76 points for the season. All right. Let's look at Detroit. Detroit's schedule, brutal here. So they've been playing terribly lately too. They play at Tampa. I think that's a loss. At Florida, that's a loss. Pittsburgh, that's a loss. Pittsburgh, I know all these teams are in the playoffs, but they're still jockeying for position right now. They end the season at Devils. I give them a win there. At Toronto, that's a loss. At the Devils again. So they get 4 points, end up with 72. Not good. All right, let's look at Buffalo, who has been playing really good lately. So if you look at the last couple games, they beat Toronto. They lost to the Blues again. The Blues right now are playing really well. But then they beat the Flyers this weekend, which is good for us. They play at the Devils. I'm gonna give the Buffalo a win there. Then they play the Islanders, Boston, and Chicago. Islanders just got eliminated. Let's give them a win there because I think the way the Sabres are playing right now is really good. We'll give them a loss to Boston just because they are Boston is for seeding right now, and then Chicago I think they win, so that gives them 1, 2, 3. It gives them 6 points. So that will put them at 75 points. Again, the Sharks have 76 based on this schedule. Ottawa also playing pretty decently recently. So their schedule, they play the Kraken. I'm going to give them a win there. They play Vancouver. Second night of a back-to-back. I'm going to give them a loss. They play the Blue Jackets. I'm going to give them a win there. They play Montreal. I know it's the second half of back-to-back, but that one's at home. Montreal's bad. I know they've been playing better, but Montreal's still bad. They play the Devils, who are just poop right now, so I'm going to give them a win there. They play the Panthers. I'm going to give them a loss, but the Panthers by then could have locked stuff up, and then I'm going to give a point. I'm going to give them a win against the Flyers as well. So that gives them 10 points with a loss. That gives them 73. Just not quite enough to catch the Sharks. And then let's look at Anaheim. So they beat Columbus tonight 6-4. They play the Kings back to back here. So they play Kings on Tuesday, then on Saturday. Let's split those. Then they play the Blues, who need the points. The Sharks, who I already gave the Sharks the win, and they play Dallas, who's going to be needing the points to get in the playoffs. I give them 4. That puts them at 76. So, quick math. If it's scheduling, puts that Detroit at 7th with 72 points. Ottawa 8th at 73. Buffalo 9th at 75. And then Sharks and Anaheim would be 10th and 11th based on, and then I think it goes to regulation wins after that. And they're both tied. So I guess it looks like Anaheim would be 10 and the Sharks would be 11 based on if the win depends on how the wins break out. So it's wins, regulation wins, and then I think it's head-to-head type of thing. So the Sharks looking at a potential 10th or 11th going in, and you really want to be 10th because if you get to 10th, then you have a chance to jumping up into the top spot, as however small chance it might be. So again, the rooting guide right now, we're rooting for Detroit, we're rooting for Buffalo, we're rooting for the Sens, and we're rooting for the Ducks just because we don't want the Ducks to catch us. All the other teams are really kind of out of it. I mean, Columbus is at 76 points, and that would take them a full-on collapse from them. And all the other teams are kind of too far out of it right now. So you hope that Ottawa gets hot here. Maybe the Sharks lose a couple more of these games than I expected. if they lose the Columbus game, that's a big one for them. And then if they, whatever games, I don't think they're going to lose out, but maybe they only get 2 wins out of the last, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2 wins out of the last 7 games. And then that would put them at 74 points, and you kind of jump 2 teams there. So every point matters now, and these loser points that you're getting from going to overtime are hurting your chances at getting a better draft pick. So we'll keep tracking this, of course, as the season winds down here. Well, of course, we're going to be 100% Bordelo all the time, full on. The hype train does not stop. It's leaving the station. Let's freaking go right now. Tomorrow, Shang Peng of San Jose Hockey Now is going to join us. Join me, and we're going to kind of talk about, I'm sure we'll talk about Bordelo. We'll probably talk about the GM search. If you have anything that you want me to ask Shang about, of course, just send us a message. You can do that, of course, at Locked On Sharks on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, where I manage all of those. Yeah, if you have anything for Shang, go ahead, shoot me a message. I'm sure I'll try to ask him. So, and then we'll do recap of the Blue Jackets. We'll try to think of something fun for Thursday. Maybe I don't want to do prospects yet. I think we'll do, once the season ends, we'll start doing prospect recaps. Because now a lot of their seasons are ending, so we can kind of do that. Maybe we'll talk about Gushin, who's going to be making his Barracuda debut on Wednesday, hopefully. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitter at myfryhole. I'm going to be doing Wednesday. I'll definitely be doing cut-ups of the Gushin game during the game. This weekend, it is my birthday, so I probably won't have live Gushin cut-ups, but I'll make it a point on Sunday to go back and watch the Barracuda game and cut out any clips as well. So also make sure you guys, wherever you're listening, you can find us on Apple, Spotify, Megaphone, Odyssey. You guys know where to listen to us. YouTube, subscribe. We are getting close to 450. We were going to do a giveaway for Martin Jones bobblehead of not 450 at 750. We were going to do a giveaway. I'm going to push it back to 800 since I just gave out tickets and a free year of San Jose Hockey Now. So once we get to 800 subscribers, I'm going to do a Martin Jones bobblehead, guaranteed to get you a William Eklund draft pick the next season. So make sure you guys subscribe. And then also you can follow me at myfryhole. Kyle is at Kyle Demetrius. And thank you for making us your first listen. Go check out the Locked On NHL Now. I was also on the Locked On NHL show, national show, where I talked to Bordelo, losing 10 games in a row, et cetera, et cetera. And then go check out Locked On Blue Jackets, Locked On Blues. You want to learn more about those guys before the Sharks play them. Locked On Fantasy Hockey, or any other amazing podcast such as Locked On Warriors. Bye, friends.